decided, because you had your, no? Did you have your locks while you were in the military?
Mm-hmm. The last year.
Wow.
2018.
So they had just passed it.
Mm-hmm. That's yes. They passed it.
So as soon as the Army lifted the standards, what she's talking about, Jesse, is the Army lifted the standards on here for black women, right? And amongst other people, but really it affected black women. And one of the things that they said was that locks were now allowed in uniform, whereas in times past they would not. So there's a fun nugget. In times past, locks were not allowed, even though it's your natural hair, it was not allowed in uniform, which we call that the Uniform Code of
Military Justice.
There you go. So, so what she's saying is that her last year in the military, she got her sister locks, right?
Started my journey.
Started her lock journey, and that was back in 2015? 18. Wow.
So they just changed the law in 2018?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Isn't that crazy?
That seems really recent.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, that is crazy.
So, all right, it is crazy. It's asinine. Like somebody could tell you what to do with your own dang on hair. Make it make sense, but you know, this is. So you get your locks, you get your sister locks, and then what made you decide sister locks? Let's start with that, because how long were you researching locks before you decided to get locks?
So I mean, as a kid, I always wanted locks, but my father was like, "No, you can't have locks." So you know, I grew up and stuff, and as an adult, I was like, well, I still want locks. But I wanted them big, but not huge, right?
Right.
Like the normal locks, the normal palm roll. So I started to see if there were other options, and I met a friend that same year, because I had a small little mini fro. And she was like, you know, you should get your hair locked. I was like, what? You can now? She's like, yeah. And basically, she was like, yeah, you can get them like this. And I was like, that might be a little too small. But I was intrigued. And she was like, well, I'm going to give you this, my loctician's number. You can call her, but you're going to have to do your research. You don't have to do your research. And I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean? So, believe it or not, my first consultation, I was like, I don't need to do no research. I know what I want. My loctician said, oh, no, ma'am. I'm going to need you to actually look into this. And he scheduled me another consultation.
Good for her.
Yeah. So she was really, and I appreciated that, because if I didn't, then I would never know that, you know, there's different types. There's interlocks, there's sister locks, there's brother locks, right?
Yep.
And then there's locks. So. And then, yeah, and then she basically, during the second consultation, I watched the video and everything, and I can't remember the lady's name who kind of created
Dr. Cornwell.
Yes. And I just loved it.
You're going back. Ooh, you're going back.
Yeah. So from that video, she was like, well, what do you want? And I told her the kind of size. Still, you know, they grew out. They were still a little small. But I ended up moving, and it was hard for me to find a loctician in the area at the time. So I went, I want to say a year without getting my hair retwisted.
Shut the front door.
Yeah.
Never knew that.
Yep. So I believe it was Shawnee. You know, because I looked on the website to try to find somebody. Every number that I called, Bougie Locks. There was another one. Nobody. Sorry, can't do it. For Houston, they were too far. I didn't want to drive 2-3 hours to do it. So I called Shawnee. She was like, yeah, I don't have a lot of clients. I work from home. And she saw my hair, and she was like, she was kind of amazed because I actually kept it parted pretty well.
Yeah.
That whole year.
That's what I'm like, really?
I love my locks. I don't want to get rid of them, but I mean, I thought I would have to cut them out. And she took a look. She's like, wow, I can't believe that you kept your hair separated and not tangled for all these years. Yeah, like when I would wash my hair, I would like literally wash them one by one. Because I was like, I want to make sure they don't get all tangled up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about commitment and determination.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I didn't know that about you.
Mm-hmm.